All right, guys, this is Kerry Stellar from In the Girls Corner, and I'm here with Anthony Giacchina from Maxim BJJ, and we're going to talk about his fight for Bellator. So, tell me a little bit about how that came about.
I was at work, and then the next thing you know, I get a phone call from my coach, and they were like, "Hey, what do you think about fighting in June?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm down to fight in June." They're like, "Bellator, Jerome Mickle," and I said, "Absolutely." He's like, "Good," because I already told him, I already told him yes. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm down."
How was it fighting the second time at Madison Square Garden? You had said that you fought a first time there.
So the first time was surreal, but we had fought in the theater, and it was great doing that. There was about 4,000 people there, but the second time was like amplified by like 2,000. You get all these legends and just the arena itself. We got to weigh in on the same scale that Ali and Frazier got to weigh in on,
That's awesome.
and it was just like you. I don't really know. Even if I won a world title, I don't even know if that's gonna top the experience that I got to have. It was just awesome.
Well, you're fighting on the biggest stage pretty much in the entire world. That's like arguably one of the biggest
I
theaters ever.
I definitely say it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, is it overwhelming fighting and like that? I mean, really, it's beyond huge. You got people over here to the right, to the left, all the way up top. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I wasn't overwhelmed at all. I actually wasn't even nervous. I've been doing this for 10 years now. So, to be completely honest, this might sound really cocky, but I felt like I just belonged there. Like, I belong on big stage with the cameras, with the lights, fighting. Like, that's where I belong. Whether or not the people are going to see that, hopefully they did see a little bit of something. That's really what it comes down to. But it's all about that self-belief, the Conor McGregor, thing. And I know where I belong. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's in there under those lights, winning fights.
That's awesome. And you know what? It's so true. You have to know your worth. You have to know like where you want to go and have that vision of what you want. And I mean, was that something that you've had for a very long time, that this is what you wanted to do, fight in like, the biggest settings and
No, which was, like, so a little background, like the way I got into it was
that was my next
I,
question.
see,
You're good.
I had watched Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture,
Hmm.
which was pretty awesome because Randy was in my corner. His son fought right after
Yes.
I fought, so we got to talk to him. I mean, that was super cool. But I watched the second time that they had fought, and it was just like, I can totally do that. I can, basically at that time I knew nothing about the sport, and I was like, I can, bulldog people and just
Yeah.
punch them in the face. I can do that. But I never was like, oh, I want to make millions of dollars. I want to be super famous. And I still I would pay my purse plus some to get in there and get the experience that I had just received. So it's just like, I'm just super competitive. That's really all it comes down to. I don't really care about the money. The money is always a plus because it does take a lot, medicals and training and all that stuff. It takes a lot. So you need the money, but I don't do it for the money. So, and I never thought about that when I was like getting into it. Like, oh, I want to be this.
I kind of feel like if you're doing it for the money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Because it should be like the love of the sport and the passion that you have for it. And then money comes, that's just a big bonus.
Yeah. It's just kind of crazy too to think about it. Like someone just cuts you a check and they're like, here, good job.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Congratulations.
really? Like, this is for me? This is awesome.
Bonuses.
Yeah.
How did you get into mixed martial arts, and what style did you start with?
So when I had seen that the Chuck Liddell Randy Couture 2, I started looking for fight gyms, and at that time I didn't make any money. I had $0 to give. So I was looking around, and couldn't find anything for like 6 months. Then I was at a bar with my buddy, and I was wearing an Extreme Couture shirt. And this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, Extreme Couture," and I was like, "Yeah, I got it at Marshall's." and he was like, "I'm opening a gym, Extreme Couture in Center Reach." So I was like, "Center Reach? Did you just say Center Reach? I live in Selden. Like, this is impossible." I was like, "No way." He's like, "Swear to God, come down tomorrow." Gave me a card. So me and my buddy, we went down, we checked the place out, and there wasn't one piece of equipment in there. He's like, "I know there's nothing in here right now. Everything's coming this week. We will be open by next week. this is where this is going to go. Striking's going to be here, that, and the other place. I was like, it sounds good to me. How much does it cost? He's like $165 a month. And I gulped. And then he was like, well, here's the thing. If you wait until we open, it's going to go up to $225. And I was like, oh, I don't have that money either. So he was like, you might as well sign up now. You sign up for a year, we'll lock you into the contract. And I looked at my buddy and I was like, dude, we have to do this now. Otherwise, we're never going to do it. Yeah. So both of us, we wound up signing up that day. And I started out wrestling for 2 weeks because I didn't know, like, anything. I played soccer in high school. And then after that, they were like, oh, you look like you're tough and, you know a little bit of something, you want to fight. And I was like, absolutely. And they said, okay, welcome to the fight team. You have a fight in four weeks. And I was like, a fight in 4 weeks? What do you mean? They said, yeah, you got a kickboxing fight in 4 weeks. So I was like, all right, well, I've never kickboxed before. And they looked at me and said, if you spar 6 rounds every day from now until the fight, you'll have 136 rounds of sparring. You'll be ready. I said, okay. Day 2, I wound up breaking my rib because I got kicked in the ribs. I continued to spar around it, and I wound up TKOing my guy in the second round of the fight for my first kickboxing fight. 6 weeks after I had started training.
And did that kind of solidify what you're doing and let you know, like, this is the world I am in? I needed
well,
to be
the
here.
funny part was like I was kind of shredded back then, and I was like, I'm gonna intimidate him with my body. And then this guy gets in the ring. His name is Omar Carrion. He's a good friend of mine now.
I know Omar.
And he was just as shredded. And he took off his shirt, and I looked, and I thought to myself, like, what the am I doing in here? Like, I didn't sign up for this. But when you win and you just get your hand raised, it's the best feeling in the world. You're like, this is exactly the reason why I do this.
That is awesome. How do you get in that mindset to? I mean, you're going in there to take someone's head off or rip their arm over. How do you get in that mindset?
I'm not. I'm really not. Like, I'm not a mean person. I'm not going in there to hurt anybody. I'm going in there to just prove that what I'm doing in the gym is gonna work. So it's just competition for me. I'm not mad. All these guys, they gotta amp up. Oh, you're taking food off my plate. Pay me. This and the other thing. No, I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna shake your hand, and I'll punch you just as hard in the face without being angry as I would if I was angry. Probably even worse without being angry, because the emotions doesn't take away from the technique, and that'll make it a lot better. But I don't really want to hurt anybody. I don't want to, people get hurt. It's part of the sport. We know, we sign a contract. They go over all the stuff. Hey, you could die. Well, yeah, I could die. I could die driving here, but
this is true.
Yeah. So
tell me a little bit about Max and BJJ and like what you do here, and how are your training partners and everything like that.
We're obviously we're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school predominantly, but that old school that I had talked to you about earlier that we started at had shut down a few years back, probably about 7 years ago. We all needed a place to train, so everybody kind of gradually came over here, and it was nice because it felt like home away from home, so we wound up training here. But now it's like we have black belt instructors who are under Matt Serra and Renzo Gracie, and then we have Lennox Chance, who's a world champion kickboxer, and we have Esteban Santiago, who's my boxing instructor, who's helped me out tons. He's probably the best boxing instructor that I've ever worked with. So it's like we come here, and all these guys, they just want the same thing. They want to come and they want to win. And a lot of people don't come here because we're so competitive, even inside the gym. Not that we're trying to hurt anybody, but if we can win inside the gym, we know that we can win outside the gym.
Absolutely.
So we really push the pace hard. And I think like a lot of that showed in my own fight. Like, yeah, I got tagged and like, but cardio was on point, and I wasn't stopping until the last bell went. And thank God I finished the fight before it. But that's what we do here. We go bell to bell.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you teach?
I try not to teach, only because I want to focus on training, and it's really hard. I work a full-time job, so I work like roughly 55 hours a week, and then I train another 30 hours on top of that. So it's like if I take time away from that 30 to teach, you know, you just don't get the same. Just because I'm in the gym doesn't mean I'm learning anything.
Absolutely.
And that's really like what I want to do. I want to learn. I want to become better. I want to basically show everybody that I am exactly what I say I am, the best in the world. And you're not going to get that by teaching anybody. Once I get out of fighting, then I'm going to be the best coach in the world. You know, that's my next competitive thing. So we'll see.
Get them ready, the next generation, the next
Oh,
group
yeah.
of fighters. That's awesome. What inspires you, like in life and to be able to fight? Like, what is your biggest inspiration, or where you draw it from in general? Family, friends.
Growing up, I had a pretty rough go. It was just like seeing family members and things like that, and we had, you know, you got your good family members. Everybody's got it, good family members, and you got your bad family members. You know, the ones who weren't doing what society would say to be right. I seen their struggle. I don't want to do that. The ones that were doing, you know, my grandfather, great man, he's 75, he still works. You know, every day, gets up, goes to work, 10, 12 hours. It's 100 degrees outside. He's working. I don't necessarily want to do that either. You know, so that, both sides of that spectrum, you know, push me to be like, what do I want to do? I have no problem going and training 12 hours every day, sweating, blood, getting injured. You know, I did want to do that. So those two spots kind of propel me into what I really want to do. And it's like, if you don't want to be sucked into life and work your 9 to 5 and do that, and you don't want to be sucked into death and drugs and alcohol and partying and all that, stay here. And every day, get up. Sometimes, not every day, but sometimes I go to the gym 5:30 in the morning, go to work 8 o'clock, get out of work, go back to the gym until about 10:30 at night, and it's like, I can do this for, you know, as long as my body's going to let me do it. So
You love what you do. I mean, like, you have
Yeah.
a passion for it. I could see that. That's like in spades, which is awesome. You
Yeah.
need to. Because, like, how could you do that and, you know, get in here every day, like you said, and come so much? And I mean, I know you guys put a lot into, you know, your training and everything
Yeah.
like that. And how different is it training for like a fight camp than it is as opposed to regular? Or do you not have any changes and you're always going that hard?
No, there's definitely big changes. Like, I train every day, regardless of if I have a camp or not. Being every day, on my off days, like, I'll do light cardio or something, but light cardio is still an hour and a half in the gym, you know, and I'm sweating and everybody's like, oh my God. And it's like, yeah, but maybe I did 10, 15 miles on whatever I was doing, but I'm not beat up. So this is light for me today. But the camps, the intensity goes up. The fact that, like, your brain gets more exhausted than anything because you're going over these moves, you're going over these situations, you're trying not to lose at something that you're probably not really that good at. You have to sharpen up these skills. So, you know, the training camps are much more intense, and, you know, I give it to these guys who do 3, 4, 5 fights in a year, because it is rough to have that pace and keep going all year round. It's super rough.
Oh, I could imagine. I mean, you're literally in here every day, so I could imagine that's got to be a little, you know, tough on you. And, you know, before we wrap this up, because I know you got Glory coming in here and stuff, and you answered literally everything that I would have ever wanted to ask you. Like, so that's awesome. But is there anybody you want to thank? Family, friends, sponsors, your training partners?
Yeah, I mean,
Coaches?
I'm, you know, my wife, she's the biggest supporter of me. She helps me with all my food and stuff, and just, like, doesn't give me a hard time about training. So I'd like to send a big shout out and thank you to her. My boxing coach, Esteban Santiago, works all my footwork and, you know, my trapping drills and everything for All World Boxing. Max and BJJ, Alex Aristides, and Joe Monahan for all my jiu-jitsu work. The Sarah team, you know, Matt, Sarah, and everybody over there in Levittown that helped me out. The Longo Weidman team that helped me out on Mondays. I mean, there's so many people to thank. It's like, but, you know, I really had a good camp, and, you know, I thank you guys all for everything that you do for me. So it's good.
And what can everybody look forward to coming out of you for like the next for life? What does everybody got to look forward to? My fans, your fans.
If you want to see an exciting fight, watch Anthony Giacchina. That's what you want to look forward to something exciting. You watch me fight, because win, lose, or draw, I'm going in there to either come out with my shield or on it. So, that's what I say.
And where can everybody find you to be able to find your next fights at? Because they're all going to follow you on your social media.
You can find me on Facebook, Anthony Giacchina, or on Instagram. It's A Giacchina MMA. It's just my first letter of my name, my last name, MMA. Or on Snapchat, A Giacchina JR. Yeah, all my stuff is on there. So definitely give me a follow, shout out. If you want like an autograph or anything, I'll send it your way.
Awesome. And you know what? I just want to say thank you so much for interviewing with me.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing your fights, and I definitely want to do another one after or before your next.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.